everybody. Thank you for waiting for us. We'll begin with coach's remarks on the game, and then we'll open the floor for Q&A. Coach, your thoughts on today's result?
Yeah, well, I said to the guys in there, there's a storyline obviously to be created in this opening game, and you know, we were the ones that had to try and create that. Obviously, the first half, I thought we were, you know, by far the more aggressive of the two teams, which is not always easy when you've been on the road as long as we have. The woodwork and an inspired goalkeeper kept them in the game, but somehow, some way, that's what very good teams do, which Philadelphia are. And maybe to be expected, the second period was not as easy to find that fluidity and that rhythm that we had in the first period. And slowly but surely they started to find a little bit of a foothold and a foundation. I've got to be honest, I still thought the goal came out of the blue a little bit, but the most important piece of the puzzle for us, obviously, starting this new phase of our world in this wonderful new stadium, was not to get beat today. Of course we want to win, but somehow we had to find the resilience to get at least something out of the game, and the guys did. So it's not a fairy tale, but it was, I thought, an incredible atmosphere and a wonderful game, and on another day we should really have come away with all 3 points.
Thank you, Coach. We'll now open the floor for questions. Greg.
Gary, the build-up to the game obviously has been well documented. You guys have had to basically spend the first 8 games up to this point, working to get to this point. How do you feel about putting that behind you to maybe take some of that emotional stress off, to stay focused on actually what's really at hand, which is how you guys are going to be in the standings and go towards the
But yeah, well, the challenge of the 8 games away from home is one thing. I think it's opening up that new chapter of brand new stadium. There is no history here for us. We had you know, put together a terrific run of games at Titans, but really and truly that it doesn't represent anything for us now, given that it was a completely different venue. So we've got to work towards that type of form all over again. And I think my biggest fear was that the occasion might just engulf the players. They wouldn't be able to express themselves. We wouldn't be able to show the sort of qualities that we all know we're capable of. But you know, that's what talented footballers do. They're able to find that opportunity. They're able to, you know, just mentally deal with the challenges and the pressures around them. I think we always knew as well that the fans would give us that extra boost. And when you see just what it was like out there, you know, I think there's a fabulous opportunity, given the atmosphere, to try and harness that as a group. And you know, we've taken our very first step in this arena, and hopefully towards you know, just as a successful period as we had at times.
Yeah, Gary, you talked on the road trip about wanting to play in a way that made it easier once you got home to be the more proactive side. How did you feel like they did with that tonight, and how do you feel that the crowd played into that?
The crowd were magnificent. I think the guys realised from the very first moment they walked out for the warm-ups that, you know, there was going to be a wonderful recognition of the guys being back at home and in this new stadium. And I mean, it really felt today like the acoustics were brilliant as well. I mean, I don't know what everyone else felt, but there was incredible, just enveloping noise when things went well, which is different, you know. We've all experienced Titans, and you know, you lose that cheer and that roar in the expanse of you know, that stadium. In terms of how we were able to adapt, I thought we did a fabulous job. You know, it isn't easy. If you look around the globe at teams, especially in the modern game, who have changed sites, have upgraded venues. You know, all sportsmen are very superstitious people, and you know, we're coming into a brand new home here, and it would be very easy to look at it and say, okay, you know, we've got to clear our way through a lot of maybe hurdles to get ourselves on track again. So to see the guys start off the first half as they did was very, very pleasing, and I was really disappointed we didn't go in at least a goal up.
Gary, at the end, guys were pretty spent with that final whistle, and you obviously want to get 3 points in the game.
Mm-hmm.
How important do you think it was for the guys in this game to try to get that second and send everybody home all the way?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we would wanted nothing less than to have bagged all 3 points. You know, when you look out at the players and the way that they, you know, finally, you know, were completely spread-eagled on the field. I think the fans can only look down on that and just reinforce again what this group give for the team, for the franchise, and for the organisation in general, the fans. You know, they have drawn on every fibre in their body to try and make it work today and give them that victory that I'm sure all the fans wanted. But I can't believe that, you know, there were too many people in the stadium today that didn't see the opportunity was there, the passion from the team was there, the opportunities certainly in the first half were created to try and make that a reality. And in the end, it was a case of clawing our way back into a game that had got away from us. And we know that's not easy in this league.
Hey Gary, you know, just kind of looking forward, you touched on it a little bit, but you know, what do you need to do to make this a fortress, kind of like you were last year undefeated at home, albeit in a different building? And how important is that to kind of get underway immediately with the home heavy schedule?
Yeah, what do we need to do? I mean, I could only say first and foremost, if there was a way of making sure we had 30,000 people here every week, and I guess we play a big part in that. If we play well and we entertain, I'm sure the supporters will turn up in their droves as they have done. The atmosphere was terrific. I've got to say, I was, you know, having been in some very good environments, that was as good as anywhere I've been. There was a real terrific feel about it, and I know it's new, and I know there's going to be that, you know, initial sort of feel around the place of trying to make it, you know, a home rather than just a venue. But couldn't have wished for any more in that case. I think the second part is to, you know, to obviously be able to reinforce that first half performance. If we're able to create the sort of opportunities and build the sort of pressure that we have done now, then I've no doubt against lesser teams, it might have crumbled. I mean, you look at the sort of pressure and the way that the goalkeeper in general has played. I mean, you see why Blake is one of the top goalkeepers in the league, if not the best. But he was absolutely inspiring for his team today, and I think that kept them in the game in that first half when things could have got away from them. I mean, one or two things that, you know, I come away from late on in the second period. There were a couple of reckless challenges that enabled them to get back into the game and maybe build a bit of pressure from dead ball situations that, you know, have not necessarily been our you know, strongest point, but the guys dealt with it well, and I'm sure in the future, as I've said before, that getting over this hurdle of the first game was always going to be a little bit difficult, but I'm seeing all the ingredients in the group that tell me that they're on the right track, and the way that fans supported us today, you know, we couldn't ask for any more.
Yeah, sort of ask Gary, obviously between Colorado and here, you played in pretty much every MLS stadium. You played in a place like Portland that's known for its atmosphere. As a venue, now that you kind of try this place on, what do you think are its strengths? And maybe also, like, what do you think it means for the franchise to be able to kind of leave the NFL stadium behind?
Well, first of all, I'll take the second part of the question. Sure. To have our own home is vitally important. As much as we were well catered for and supported there, there is no beat in your home stadium, and you know, I know Ian's spoken about memories that you start to create. This venue now, will be the place over the coming years and decades that, you know, fathers and sons will come to and look back on and say, do you remember? So very, very important that we've started that on that road. Tell me the first part again.
Just how, you know, what about the building now? What do you like about the strengths?
Well, I mean, I actually, as I've said, was very, very surprised at the way that the atmosphere, you know, enveloped the group and engulfed the building. And of course, you don't know until the fans are in here. The stadiums that I've been in around the league, I would have to say, probably only the venues that have an enclosed atmosphere, and the one that springs to mind is Atlanta.
Sure.
When the roof's shut, it creates a very different vibe. You know, there's no natural elements that are moving, you know, the sound of the fans around, and then it's of course bouncing off of every single angle, and you've got a lot of supporters there as well. But I've got to say, that's as good an atmosphere as I've been involved in anywhere around the league.
Gary, when you look at the game, especially in the first half, obviously you're saying that the team kept a good pressure and had pretty good three chances, and then things happened to change a little bit at the beginning of the second half. Was that because only obviously their good side, or was it something that changed in tactically, you know, what your team was doing there? Produce that part of the game?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if you look back at any game, you'll be able to tell me multiple games where, you know, teams have gone in at the break and they come back out the second period, and you go, what happened there? You know, why didn't they continue what they were doing? Well, the 15-minute break does a multitude of things, you know. It enables them to regroup and physically reset. It enables the coach to make a couple of slight subtle shifts maybe in the way that the team's performing, areas that they're struggling to deal with. And certainly for us, for the most part, it puts a plug in that rhythm. You know, we're on the front foot, the fans are behind us. Now everyone goes to the concessions and comes back, and, you know, we're looking at a completely different picture. You've got to regenerate that in the second period, and unfortunately we were unable to do that. Are there lessons to be learned from that? For sure, but the guys are only human, and if there was the opportunity to carry that first period on, I bet every single player would have said, yeah, let's not have a break, let's carry on. It was that enjoyable, and there were so many good things to come out of it. They're a good side as well. You know, we have to take that into the equation. You know, they're not in the position they're in the Eastern Conference for no reason. We've had extremely tight games against them. You know, that's the fourth game that no one scored more than a single goal in 90 minutes. There's a reason for that. Both teams are ultra competitive. They've got a very, very genuine core to the way they work. And when things are going against them, they don't buckle. There are some teams that do. We don't need to talk about them. But this team that we played against today don't buckle. They've got strong characters, and they stood firm. And you know you're in a serious game then. The first goal was always going to be pivotal. Unfortunately, they got it. If we'd have got it, I'd have been saying, you know, have we been good enough? Have I been good enough as a coach and to adapt, and the players to see the game out? But they got it, and nothing's changed for us. And we've got to get on the front foot, and we've got to find a way.
Steve.
9 games in, Gary, it looks like you have a fairly set 11 to start with. Do you think you have an impact on a player on your bench who can change a game right now?
Is that a leading question?
It's just a question.
I think there are a number of players that will have an influence on the team. You know, Ake's 20 minutes that he's got today plus injury time has probably been as substantial as any he's had over the last 8 games, which was great to see him out there, and I'm sure he'll benefit from that. He will have enjoyed being part of this occasion today, and rightly so. He will only get better. Do we have other individuals that can come into the game and help us when we're behind? Do we need to change shape? For sure. You know, guys like Hackinson have not seen the field as much as they would have liked, or certainly to have shown what they're about, and their time will come. And of course we're missing Till. You know, that's a big miss for us, but I think between the individuals we've got, the ability to, you know, rotate those bodies in different positions, as you saw today. Randall spent a period of time after they scored alongside Dax. I think we have as we move forward here, the opportunity with a lot of the guys on the field and many of them off it to be a little bit more adaptable, to turn the screw, to be a little bit more aggressive. And I think ultimately it's down to the guys that are on the bench and they come into the game to prove that they deserve to be on the field. You know, anything that you're given in life, you don't really appreciate much. You got to fight for it, and then you appreciate it a little bit more. That's all I'm asking. Come in, do a good job, and there'll be an opportunity.
You mentioned how well Andre Blake played. Was there a measure of almost vindication after you guys had 2 penalties saved by him last year, and then Randall has not historically been your designated penalty taker? What was behind the decision to have him take it?
So first and foremost, yes, of course. The penalty shootout, you know, will forever be in the archives of history as, you know, a pretty dismal display from us. There was a very simple explanation for Randall taking the penalty, and that was that Hanny has been working incredibly hard at his own style, and he's going through a transitional period of what and how he wants to do things. And as with any professional, when you're going through that period, you need to work at it, you need to work at it some more, and you need to keep working at it until you are so confident that it becomes second nature. And that was the only reason. So when I think we both feel, Hanny is our penalty taker, when we both feel that the time is right again, he will be our penalty taker again. That he's going through that process of his own accord of wanting to be better than he was.
Coach, really competitive and physical games, especially towards the end. Really competitive games last year against Philadelphia. Even though you guys are in the Western Conference now, playing Philadelphia, playing Atlanta twice this season in the next couple weeks, playing NYCFC, do you think those rivalries will kind of carry over, even though you're focusing on the Western Conference?
Yeah, for sure. You can't dismiss the things that have gone on in the past, especially when they represent the sort of magnitude that they do in the playoffs. Make no mistake, there's a lot of pain that people still carry around from the defeat in Philadelphia. So that only adds to the to the rivalry and the competition that you run into when you see them again. But I think as well, there's a healthy respect from both groups. I truly didn't see anything today that was outside of that respectful competition. From our point of view, certainly Daniel and Alex's challenges were a tad reckless and overzealous. I don't think there's any real malice in that, just mistimed. And I'm not seeing anything from their side. They're ultra competitive, like a lot of their players. As I say, there's a very mutual line of respect here for both teams, and I think you can see that in the way the game unfolds and the results that have been borne out.
We will conclude today's time with Coach with a question from Chris Harris.
Coach, I'm just curious, with so much build up and anticipation and emotion for today and all of the obvious energy that was expended today, is there a way that after this is over, this is almost like a relief? You know, like, all right, we've done this now, and we can go forward and use this experience, especially with the string of home games that you have now.
Wow. Yeah. You couldn't be more on the money. There were so many different storylines that could have played out today. The expectation and the excitement that surrounded this opening game was huge, and to think that the players didn't feel that would be inhuman. A lot of this week has really been about be you. Don't try and be someone else because it's 30,000 people and it's the opening of a new stadium. How do we sow the seed or set the foundation of a new chapter, which it is in our young history, because we all forget that. I think everyone will go home, the players for sure. There'll be an inkling of disappointment that they weren't able to take the game. But I think when they wake up in the morning, they'll see that it was a titanic tussle, and unfortunately, we weren't able to win the game for our supporters. But yet again, we've been able to offer the sort of performance that I can only think each and every man, woman, and child that's been here today has been able to think exactly what they thought of us before. That we're proud of our team. We've got individuals that are role models and heroes if we want to see them that way. And I think that's what the guys have done incredibly well in the first 2 years or more, and to build the sort of connection that they have done with the supporters here. Wonderful support, wonderful game. The only missing piece was a victory.
Thank you, Coach. We will be
Appreciate
it. We are joined by the goal scorer of today's game, Randall Leal, and Alex Muyl, who had plenty of chances as well. Randall, please give us your opportunity. Tell us about your game.
I feel happy, but we get the result that we don't want it. We want to win with all the fans and everything, but okay, we need to keep working. We have next game next week, and it's gonna be a difficult game too, and this is what we need to keep working and be sharp for the next games.
Alex, tell us about the game. What did you see in it? How did you were able to look in the result?
Yeah, I mean, just like Randall said, obviously it's great to come back once we concede a goal, but we all wanted 3 points, and for us, I think we're a team that expects 3 points. So when we get a tie, especially at home, it feels like we're leaving points on the table. So I think while I think it's definitely a positive day because there's a lot of pageantry and a lot of extra pressure, and I think it's our first time playing in the stadium. So yeah, it's home, but it's a novelty for us as well. But for us, for sure, we want to move on from this and build from it, and hopefully start turning this kind of tie into wins.
Then with the first question.
Yeah, Alex, you obviously had a couple chances in the first half. Dax, Honey, Dan, and Andre just kept making save after save. What was your reaction when you guys kept having chances and you just stood on his head?
Yeah, I mean, so I think Dax obviously hits the post. I hit the crossbar. He makes an unbelievable save on the corner. It's one of those where it comes to me so fast. I just have to get good contact, and I do, and I think it's over, right? And maybe earlier in the game, it's wetter, it slides off him, but he makes an unbelievable save. There's not really much more I could do, and just give him a lot of credit. I think for us, it's important to see that we are creating a lot, and we'll convert those. Sometimes it doesn't go your way, and that's how it felt today, but the most important thing is that, we're creating chances.
Tom.
This is for both of you. I guess Alex, you can go first, but how did you guys experience this atmosphere the first time in the stadium with all the fans, and where does it kind of, I guess, rank or how does it compare to other games from your career?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know it's good when I'm trying to yell at Randall, he's 15 feet away and he can't hear me. So, or maybe he's pretending not to. But, no, but it's, you know, that's a good atmosphere. There's a lot of noise, everyone gets behind it, and you know, we're so grateful for all the fans that they're willing to come and support us like that. It just makes us want to fight even harder.
Yeah, I think we talked before to went to the pitch, you know, about to enjoy, because was good for the fans, you know, for everything, for the city. Then they made this stadium unbelievable, and I think, you know, the guy who said that he don't feel anything about this game, he's lying, you know. All the players feel like, you know, a little bit nervous and everything, but I think, yeah, the game is finished. I think for the next game we will be better, I think, and yeah, we just need to keep working.
Great.
Yeah, Randall, when you
Long
talked
day.
about the atmosphere, right, and feeling that when you took the penalty, when you were preparing to take the penalty, were you feeling that? Were you thinking of the atmosphere and obviously the first goal for Nashville here at the stadium?
Yeah, it was not easy, you know, because in the past I lose one penalty when I was in the national team against Mexico in the World Cup, you know. I was like 21 years old. So, you know, in this moment, I just take it because, you know, the life give you revenge always. And for me, today was mine, and I just took the ball and just say to God, please heal me. And yeah, we score, but yeah, what I say, you know, it's not about me, about the goal. You know, it's about the team, and we wanted to win, but I think for the fans was good for them.
Alex, Gary mentioned, and it was pretty apparent too, that after you guys had all those early chances, Philly kind of flipped the momentum on you a little bit. How did that happen, and then how did you guys maintain enough grip on the game to kind of get it back towards the end?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's soccer, right? I think when there's going to be momentum shifts all throughout the game, especially when you're playing against a good team. They're a team that you know, they're direct and they know how to create chances quickly and be all over you. And so I think for us, it's normal to have the ebbs and flows of the game where we're going to be up and we're going to have our chances, and hopefully we can convert them to put ourselves in a better position. We weren't able to, and so they had their spells. They scored first, kind of a nothing play, you know, like a long ball over the top, and you know, it was up to us from that point on then to decide. You know, we had 25 minutes left. We had to push it, and I think, you know, we're good at that. We know how to do that.
Sorry.
Randall, this stadium, the fans, they were really just waiting to erupt for a goal. You provided that moment for them. Can you just kind of speak to just the energy that you felt and the excitement when you provided that moment?
Yeah, I just scored and I just run, you know, to the fans. You know, it's the moment when you have a new stadium, and you know, I think all the players want to make the goal, you know, to be the first one, you know, for the fans, and see what happened after the goal, how is the reaction of the fans. And yeah, I think I just score, I run to them, and you know, to feel the atmosphere and everything, I think it's unbelievable.
Claudio.
Randall, más allá del orgullo que sientes hoy por la anotación que quedará en la historia del estadio, creo que no hay ninguna persona aquí más orgullosa que ese señor que está detrás, tu papá. Y lo digo eso porque él decía y te dijo que ibas a anotar hoy, ¿ya? Él lo dijo, y en la transmisión que hicimos en vivo antes del partido, él dice, yo le pregunté y él dice, Randall, mi hijo anota un gol. Esa seguridad que él sentía, bueno, obviamente que me hacía feliz a mí y a todos los que estaban escuchando. ¿Qué se siente saber que no solamente su predicción fue correcta, sino que Randall Leal, pase lo que pase, queda en la historia de este estadio como el primer anotador?
Randall, dame un segundo que traduzca la pregunta. The question was regarding Randall's dad is in attendance today. He's sitting in the back, and he actually said or predicted that he was going to score a goal today. So the question that Claudio posted was in regards to what does it feel to not only score based on the prediction that your dad had, but also know that your name is going to be forever engraved in this stadium.
Yeah, I think there is no person in my life that support me like my father. You know, he give everything when I born to now for me to get my my future, and he believed in me a lot. So yesterday we was talking about to get a chance to get a penalty, because during the week Gary talked with me about the first option of the penalty was for me. So to feel this security about my family, my to see that my father, my mother is there now with my son. I think this give me a lot of confidence to don't think too much about to get the ball and just shoot. I think I hope to that my father is proud of me, to also my mother, and yeah, I love to most them.
Yeah.
Alex, after the goal, I think it was you that ran the ball back to midfield. At that moment, are you thinking, is that because of the pressure you guys have and you feel like that second goal could be coming, or is it more the moment of, hey, we want to win this game?
Yeah, I think it's like Randall said, we weren't satisfied with the tie, and we want to make sure that we can, continue the game and try and get a goal. Just to add on to the last thing, your dad raised an amazing kid. Like he's the best teammate. He's the hardest working guy. He's so good and he's so humble. So it's a pleasure to play with him.
Thank you. Me too.
Alex, I'm really interested in the sound. You hit the woodwork, and then the crowd responded, and then you had that point blank moment. What did that sound like on the field? Can you describe that?
It's hard to say. I think you tune out most of it. It's like you're so in the moment that you don't even really hear it, right? It's more like it maybe is just like it's like your heartbeat. It's not something that you even are noticing, because it's just part of the experience. I remember when we won the penalty. I remember that sound. I was screaming with the crowd, and I remember that feeling. Everyone was so it was a moment of just release and relief that we were going to have a big chance to score. But yeah, no, I don't really remember those sounds, but I'm sure they were something.
Guys, after the game was over, got the 1 point. Judah and Leal went on, sang the song. What was that moment like, kind of after the game was over, arm in arm, singing the song with the fans in your new permanent home?
Special, I think the North fans deserve everything. When we play, they expect that we give the 100% and more. And I think we tie and they still was happy. And this is good for us. I think as a group we feel a lot when they do that, and I'm sure then the next games we will keep working and we will give more than 100% to make them proud.
Yeah, I think I don't think we'll do that too often when there's a tie, but I think we wanted to commemorate this moment. There's some things that are bigger than the result, right? It was the love and the support and just the overall genuine feeling of care that we have for them, and so we wanted to show that, arm in arm. I think if we lost, we would have done it, because it was just to say thank you to them and to kind of wrap up this wild moment that I've never experienced it before, and I don't think too many people have. So I think it probably won't happen when we tie in the future, but today it was fitting.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.